Dad, that waitress looks just like Mom. Ethan's fork froze halfway to his mouth. His heart thudded in his chest, rattling the cage of grief he'd spent 3 years trying to lock away. He turned slowly, afraid to look, afraid that hope might play another cruel trick on him. But when his eyes landed on the young waitress balancing a tray of coffee mugs, he felt the blood drain from his face. It couldn't be. It couldn't be her. But it was. Or at least, it looked exactly like her. And his world, which had been stitched back together with fragile threads of time and therapy, began to unravel all over again. 3 years ago, Ethan had lost everything. His wife, Claire, had been the love of his life. Beautiful, selfless, radiant even on her worst days. She lit up every room she entered, and when she laughed, the world felt like it made sense. But one rainy night on Highway 7, a drunk driver's recklessness had shattered that world. Claire was gone before the ambulance arrived. The funeral had been a blur. The condolences, the flowers, the promises of support, all faded eventually, leaving only silence and aching absence. Ethan didn't know how to raise a 7-year-old boy alone, not when his own heart was buried with his wife. But he had tried, because Claire would have wanted that. And for their son, Leo, he kept getting out of bed every morning, even when it felt like lifting a 1,000-pound weight. But now, here he was, staring at a living ghost. "Dad?" Leo whispered, tugging at his sleeve. "Why are you crying?" Ethan hadn't realized a tear had slipped down his cheek. He wiped it quickly, trying to pull himself together. "It's nothing, bud. Just give me a second." He watched the waitress as she moved from table to table. Same auburn hair. Same dimple on the left cheek. Even the way she tucked a loose strand behind her ear, it was her. Claire's exact gestures, mannerisms, presence. Was this woman her twin? Her double? Or was there something else going on? He couldn't stop himself. As soon as she turned toward the kitchen, Ethan got up and followed her. "Excuse me," he said, voice rough. Can I talk to you for a moment?" She turned, eyes warm but tired, polite smile in place. "Of course, sir. Is everything all right?" His breath caught. Up close, the resemblance was even more striking. Her eyes, those deep, soulful green eyes, were identical. "I know this is going to sound strange," Ethan began, his voice shaking. "But, you look exactly like someone I knew. Someone I lost." She paused, reading the pain on his face. "I get that sometimes," she said softly. "People say I remind them of someone." "Your name?" he asked. "What's your name?" "Lila. Lila Hart." Ethan staggered a step back. "Not Claire. Different name." But the resemblance was uncanny. He nodded, tried to smile, and murmured something about sorry to disturb her. She looked at him with a strange intensity as he walked away. As if she too had felt something odd stir in the air between them. Back at the table, Leo was already working on his pancakes. "Did you ask her, Dad? Is she Mom?" "No," Ethan said, forcing a calm he didn't feel. "She's not. Her name's Lila." "But what if Mom didn't really?" Leo started. Ethan stopped him. "We've talked about this, Leo. Your mom, she's gone." "But what if," Leo insisted, eyes wide, innocent. "What if she wasn't?" Later that evening, Ethan couldn't sleep. He pulled out an old photo album, one Claire had made for Leo. On the last page was a hospital photo of Claire with their newborn. Ethan stared at it for hours. And then something struck him. A bracelet. A simple silver chain with a small heart charm, one Claire had never taken off. He hadn't noticed it earlier at the diner, but did Lila have the same bracelet? The next morning, he returned to the diner alone. He waited at the counter until Lila came out. She smiled politely, but her smile faded when she saw the photo he laid down before her. "Do you know this woman?" he asked. Lila stared at the image. Her hand began to shake. That's me," she whispered. Ethan's heart dropped. "What do you mean?" he asked. "I don't know," she said. I've had memory problems. For years. I woke up in a hospital 3 years ago. No ID, no name. Just this bracelet. They said maybe I was in an accident. No one came to claim me." She showed him her wrist, and there it was. The bracelet. Ethan felt the floor tilt beneath him. You're Claire," he said. She shook her head, eyes filled with fear and confusion. "I don't know who that is. I've been Lila ever since." A DNA test confirmed the impossible. Lila was Claire. She had suffered brain trauma, complete memory loss, and had been found hours after the accident, wandering disoriented miles away. The police had presumed the body found in the wreckage was hers. It wasn't. It had belonged to a homeless woman Claire had stopped to help that night. The mistake had never been caught. Ethan wept for hours. The woman he had mourned, the love he had buried, was alive. But she didn't remember him. Or Leo. The days that followed were filled with cautious hope and gentle reintroductions. Leo clung to her, telling her stories, showing her pictures, sharing every memory he could. And slowly, the fog began to lift. There were moments, small flickers, when Claire seemed to remember. A laugh at a shared joke. A tear when she saw the necklace she used to wear. A whispered "Leo" in the middle of the night, as though her heart knew what her mind didn't. And then one day, while helping Leo tie his shoe, Claire looked up and said, "You always struggled with that knot when you were little." Ethan, standing nearby, froze. Leo gasped. She blinked. I remember. The journey was long. It took months of therapy, old videos, favorite songs, familiar scents, and endless patience. But the memories began to trickle back, one by one. And on a golden spring afternoon, Claire walked into their home again, not as Lila, the waitress, but as the mother and wife they had thought lost forever. The story made headlines, "Woman found alive years after being presumed dead." But for Ethan and Leo, it wasn't about the media frenzy or the miracle, it was about getting their family back. The second chance they never thought they'd have. They learned that love was not just in memory, it was in presence, in effort, in forgiveness. And that sometimes, even the worst pain can lead to a new beginning. Life can steal from us in cruel, unimaginable ways. But it can also surprise us, with second chances, with healing, with miracles hidden in ordinary places. Hold on to hope, even when it hurts. Because sometimes, the heart remembers what the mind forgets.